In this video I just want to show you a very quick way of doing a sketch outdoors which is lively, which is fun, which is fast. My name's Andy Walker and I've got this video as well on my blog which tells a little bit more about the process and a little bit more about doing sketches in this way. So let's have a look. So here's the setup for it, and we're going to pretend that we're outdoors sketching because this is where you're most likely to do this kind of sketch, and because we can't do that very easily on the video, I've got a photograph here of a building of a pub in England, and what I'm trying to do now is just sketch it out very loosely in a sketch pad with a fine liner pen. Now I use black one most often, although brown is quite useful as well if you want to go for something with a kind of antique-y feel or more of a possible sort of countryside feel. But for this sort of thing, it's really useful to have the black because it plays off well against the other colours that we're going to be putting on later. And as you can see, I'm just kind of scribbling this in. I'm looking to see where the things are on the building. I'm pretending I was out there standing on the street just for the short space of time to get this sketch down. And so I'm working away at it, just looking and seeing where things line up, where things go, where the angles are sort of on the roofs, trying to get those fairly accurate, just trying to put in the main areas really. All this stuff over to the left of the pub, all the umbrellas and the bits and pieces over there, I'm going to simplify that right down and cut most of that out. Just have some shapes and bits and pieces in there in colour, just to hint at something going on, because the main feature is the end of the pub, is the gable end there and the things leading into it. So again, with with that sort of curved wall leading into it, which is a lovely lead in into the picture. We're just trying to get the angles right on that. Popping in this person there very simply. It's useful just for scale, just to have a bit of action going on in the picture as well. And working all over the picture really from place to place, trying to build it up. I started at the chimneys at the top, so I make sure I could fit those in, and then working down the page with the rest of it. Just really trying to capture the simplicity of a complex scene. So what I'm trying to do is just get the major shapes and the major parts in, even though there's an awful lot going on here. We want to simplify it right down. So for the tree there in the background, it's useful when you're doing trees like that just to put in the trunk and the branches first off, because it gives you kind of a bit of a shape, and then you can just draw a bit of a bit around there for the rest of the tree. Same over here with these bushes, just a line at the bottom, a line at the top. That'll be enough because we're going to put the rest in with paint. And just to locate the pub, just going to put on its name here. It's in Abingdon near Oxford, and it's the Nag's Head, so we'll just sort of write that in. It doesn't matter if the writing's not too neat because none of the rest of it is neat. All the lines I've done have been quick. I think I've sped the video up just a quarter, so it's only going a tiny bit faster than I was actually doing the sketch in the first place. And if you're going outdoors to sketch, then you need to learn to be quick. You need to learn to be able to put things down as quickly as you can. So there's the sketch, pretty much done. That took about 5 minutes or so. And now I just want to splash on some of this paint for the sky area, a little bit in the water there. The reason I do this, or I've taken to doing it recently, is to just loosen everything up. It means that suddenly I've got a loose drawing, but I could come in and go very tight with the artwork, with the painting. And this just kind of loosens it up. It just kind of scatters paint around, makes it sloppy, makes it a bit loose in a sense that I can now come in freely with the paint on top, just to carry on with that loose feel. It just reminds me really that I don't need to tighten up at this stage and colour in all the lines, as it were. So just working with some of that paint that's gone down there, just to give a little hint of colour to the end of the building. Seeing a little bit of sort of warmish colour as well going in there. So I'm just picking up the blobs really that that were down there on the paper, which I don't want as blobs on the building. So at this stage I can just smooth them in. I'll leave them in the sky as blobs. It just adds a bit of vitality really to the whole scene. Coming over the roof here, just pick up whatever's down there, it doesn't really matter. If it floods out a little bit into the sky or the surroundings, that's fine. It's okay, we're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming to catch a scene really quickly. I think it was a fairly cold day when I was there as well, and sort of just standing there, you don't want to stand there for too long, working away at something for hours. What you want to do is to try and catch something in a short space of time. I think this whole picture took me about 20 minutes, just under 20 minutes for the whole thing, and that's great for sketching outdoors in a scene like this in your sketchbook. So I'm just really coming in, now we've got the pen down, we're just coming in with wash, so it's fairly thin coats of paint. Just work that across there to thin that out on that side, give it a bit of texture there, and I'll come in with some darker paint later on, but initially these first washes can just be very, very thin. And all the time while I'm doing this in this demo, I'm thinking, if I were outside, what would I do? And this is the kind of thing that I would do. So it shows that it is actually possible. We want a nice dark for the that barn at the back there, which will show up some of the bits and pieces that's going on in front of it. So that'll do for that. You can see how simply you can paint. You don't really need to do very much at all to create the illusion of the scene in front of you. And these bushes will add to soften that area. So just pop those in. A little bit of darker down towards the wall there. The paint's not drying too quickly, so I'm just having to leave a little gap between the wall and the plants, so we'll fill that in later. Otherwise the whole thing would just run together. One of the things I've been learning is that because I live in Spain and the paint dries really quickly on the paper, when you go to a place like England where it's a lot damper and paint, it just doesn't dry. And so a lot of things run together, so I end up with quite a lot of sort of cauliflowers and bits and pieces going on in the paint work. And actually in a sketch I don't mind that. It's all part of the fun of getting it down quickly, and if things do that, if the paint doesn't go down well or doesn't dry too quickly and causes you problems with that, then that's actually okay. That's all right. It's part of the process. The main thing is to sort of just enjoy it, loosen up. Just don't be too precious about it, and capture the main elements of what you see there in front of you in the simplest way possible. So it's coming on now. You can see with the greens I've mixed in some blues and I've mixed in some yellows. I've actually mixed it on the paper there, so that so that it causes gradations and a change of colour. Just want to go over some of these little areas just to add a bit of extra detail or depth of colour in there. So coming in with a smaller brush. I'm using Escoda travel brushes, which are the ones that I use when I am outside sketching, and they're great because the top just comes off and just fits inside the barrel neatly, so it protects the hairs on the brush, so you can carry them around easily. Get this water in. I'm going to go quite dark with that. You've got the reflection, the dark reflections coming in there, so just want to put that in. And can you see now how the splattering that I did at the very beginning in the sky and that just helps to bring that dynamic to the painting. If that had been just a blue sky, a flat blue sky, the whole thing would be just a little bit more static, a little bit more boring. Whereas this gives it life, it gives it a dynamism. Okay, the sky never looks like that, it doesn't look spotty. But actually it works in creating the illusion of movement, the illusion of atmosphere, the illusion of life, which is what I want to get in my pictures, especially when we're dealing with pictures like sort of town scenes and things like this, where you don't necessarily want to draw all the cars and all the people, although you could. You really just want to catch that sort of effect of vibrancy in life, and I think this effect kind of does that. Darken up the wall, just a little bit on that side. Person in. And you can see as well with my mixing wells there, I'm actually keeping them fairly simple as well. I've got a bluish one, a darkish one, a greenish one, and another one, which is kind of muddy. And that's providing me with basically all the kind of colours that I need. If I need more blue, I'll go into the bluish one. If I need to make something more greener, I'll go into the greenish one. But I'll keep those three sort of puddles there, which again just simplifies everything down, and just helps to make the mixing very quickly. Coming in now just to darken some areas up. Watercolor, of course, dries lighter, so it's good just to put down a light layer and then come in with some darker paint. And I'm not really going to do too much more to this. Probably darken up the water a bit more. I don't want to do too much more because I don't want to get too fussy over it. I want to keep it fresh. So I'm just going to come in, put the head in there because that was a little white head. We'll colour that in. There we go. And pretty much that's the end of the paint work. So I just want to come in with a pen again and just darken up anything I want to darken up. Just work on any areas that look a bit kind of flat, so that I might just want to do something too. The foliage often needs a bit of extra ink work on afterwards, just to create the feeling of the leaves and things, and some of the branches and things like that. Loose foliage quite often come back in with a black pen and touch up areas like that. Darken the trunk of the tree a little bit. And over here as well, we'll just come in and put in some little bits of vegetation. You can see that it just kind of brings it to life. What we're trying to do is create something that just shows what's vegetation, what's wall, what's person, what's background, what's road, whatever. And hopefully we manage to do that and convey that in a very short space of time to the viewer. And I hope you've enjoyed watching that. Have a go at it yourself. Just keep it really loose, really simple, and have fun as you're painting.